Welcome to ClarityGrit. What if I told you that some of the behaviors you think are helping you are actually ruining your reputation? You believe they make you seem kind, humble, or easy to get along with, but in reality, they're the exact reasons people smile politely on the outside while secretly thinking less of you on the inside. The truth is, most people don't lose respect because of one big mistake. Small, repeated habits gradually erode their respect, affecting how others perceive them. And what makes such behaviors so dangerous is that these habits often feel harmless. In fact, they even feel right. You think you're being polite. You think you're being a good person. But what you're actually doing is lowering yourself in ways you can't even see. Respect isn't automatic. It doesn't just appear because you're smart, talented, or successful. You can climb the ladder, earn money, and get recognition and still find that people don't admire you. Why? Because respect has less to do with what you achieve and more to do with how you carry yourself every single day. So let's get into this. Today, I want to break down the exact behaviors you probably think are helping you, but in reality, they're quietly destroying respect. And I want you to listen carefully, because the first step to change is awareness. Let's start with the first one, over-apologizing. Apologies are powerful when they're real. When you've hurt someone, when you've made a mistake, when your actions cause pain, saying "I'm sorry" carries weight. It heals, it shows accountability, and it builds trust. But when you apologize for things that don't even require an apology, you weaken yourself. Think about it. Someone bumps into you on the street, and the first words out of your mouth are "sorry." Or you offer an opinion in a group, and then immediately follow it up with "sorry if this sounds stupid." What message are you sending in those moments? You're training people to see you as someone unsure of themselves, someone who needs to apologize for simply existing. You might think this makes you look polite, but in truth, it makes you look small. People respect confidence, not constant apology. And confidence isn't about being perfect, it's about standing by your words and actions without shrinking every time tension appears. Save your sorry for when it matters. That way, when you do apologize, people feel the weight of it. The second behavior, being a people pleaser. Now, this one is tricky, because we all want to be liked. We all want to get along. There's nothing wrong with kindness, but there's a fine line between being kind and being a pushover. And too many people cross that line without realizing it. When you say yes to everything, even when you want to say no, you might think you're keeping the peace. But really, you're teaching people that your time, your energy, and your boundaries don't matter. When you laugh at jokes that aren't funny just to fit in, when you go along with things you don't believe in to avoid conflict, you're not earning admiration. You're giving away respect piece by piece. Think about it honestly. Do you admire the person who bends over backward to please everyone? Or do you admire the person who stands tall and says, "No, that doesn't work for me," without being rude, deep down? Respect is built on authenticity. It's built on knowing who you are and standing by it, even if some people disagree. If you try to please everyone, you end up respected by no one. The third behavior, talking too much about yourself. This one is dangerous because it often comes from good intentions. You want to connect. You want to share your experiences. You want to bond with people by saying, "I've been there too." But there's a fine line between connecting and dominating. You've met that person, right? The one who turns every story into a story about themselves. You say, "I had a rough week." And they jump in with, "You think that's bad? Let me tell you about mine." Or you share something exciting, and they immediately try to one-up you. On the surface, they think they're contributing, but deep down, you walk away feeling unheard. Here's the truth. Nobody respects the person who always makes it about themselves. Respect is built when people feel heard. The most respected people are often the best listeners. They ask questions. They pay attention. They make you feel important. And that's the paradox. By talking less, you actually gain more respect. The fourth behavior, doubting yourself out loud. You might think this makes you look humble or relatable, but it actually makes you look unsure. Phrases like "this might be a stupid idea, but," or "I don't know if this makes sense, but," might feel safe to you, like you're softening the blow. But what they really do is undercut your own presence before you've even made your point. Here's what happens. The moment you signal doubt in yourself, other people start to doubt you too. And once that seed is planted, it's hard to shake off. Respect comes from confidence, not arrogance, but the quiet confidence of owning your perspective. Even if you're wrong sometimes, speak your thoughts with clarity, because people would rather follow someone who's clear and wrong than someone who's constantly shaky and unsure. And here's one more that ties it all together: constantly seeking validation. You might not even notice how often you do this, asking questions like, "Was that okay? Do you think they like me? Did I do a good job?" On the surface, it feels like humility. You want feedback, you want reassurance, but what it really signals is insecurity. Here's the thing: when you constantly need other people to tell you that you're good enough, you're showing them that you don't believe it yourself. And no one deeply respects someone who can't stand on their own. Validation feels nice, but the respect that lasts comes from within. It comes from knowing your value without needing confirmation at every turn. So let's pull this all together. Over-apologizing, people-pleasing, talking too much about yourself, doubting yourself out loud, constantly seeking validation. These are the behaviors you think help you, but in reality, they destroy respect. They make you look unsure, insecure, and forgettable. But here's the good news: these habits can be changed, and the moment you start changing them, people notice. When you save your apologies for when they matter, people feel the weight of your words. When you stop people-pleasing and start drawing boundaries, people see your strength. When you talk less and listen more, people feel heard and respect you more deeply. When you own your words without self-doubt, people take you seriously. And when you stop chasing validation, people give it freely. Respect isn't something you chase. It's something you build, day by day, in the little choices you make. And once you stop the behaviors that tear it down, you'll notice a powerful shift. You won't have to demand respect. You'll simply command it without saying a word. Now I want to leave you with this. Be honest with yourself. Out of all the behaviors I just talked about, which one do you catch yourself doing the most? Awareness is the first step to change. So drop your answer in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If this video gave you something to think about, do me a favor, hit that like button, share this with someone who needs it, and subscribe to ClarityGrit for more videos on psychology, self-growth, and confidence. Remember this: respect doesn't come from trying to look perfect. It comes from living with strength, authenticity, and clarity. Stop the behaviors that weaken you, and you'll find that respect follows naturally. This is ClarityGrit. Stay strong, stay clear, and keep growing.